Hey everybody, and welcome to the Redmen TV. I'm Steve, joined by Jay Pearson for today's Liverpool news update. We're going to be speaking Jarell Quansah, a bit of transfer stuff as well. We'll see if we've got time for a bit more contract stuff, because that's all we're talking about these days. Welcome, Jay. Thanks very much for coming in. Yesterday, I had Dan on the news show, and it had been reported in the morning that Jarell Quansah was in talks, or was close to agreeing a deal, a new contract at Liverpool. It's since been announced, mate. So Liverpool have described it as a new long-term contract. I think Sky Sports reported that it's a 5-year deal for a lad aged 8 to go from in 22, 23 being on loan at Bristol Rovers to Liverpool's first team, England call-ups, new 5-year senior deal. It's been quite the 18 months for Jarell Quansah.
Yeah, if I was him, I'd be pinching myself. You know, you sort of remember what you were doing at that age, and you sort of go, yeah, it was nothing compared to what this lad's done. And fair play to him, he absolutely deserves it, the way he's played, especially last season. He's been absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I'm glad we've tied him down, because I can only see him getting better. So. And
as well, I said this, Dan, I'd like your thoughts on it. Liverpool are, quite rightly, getting a bit of stick for the contract situations they got themselves in with other players. Yeah. Not so much Trent and Van Dijk, because they're older, but certainly with Alexander-Arnold, a young player who's now, free to talk to other teams in a few months' time. It feels like that's a problem we've inherited, but actually we're going to get ahead of the other ones. So we're going to get ahead of Quansah, we're going to reward them and tie him down. We're going to do the same. It looks like Ibu Konate is in a similar boat. Yeah. It feels like they've got their head screwed on when it comes to these things. Reward players when they deserve it, because he would have been on I'm guessing a youth contract, a relatively low contract, like Quansah, but also tie them down, because these are the future of the football club.
They are indeed, mate. And you tie down the ones that you can actually physically do at this point, because we all know what's going on with the other three, and that's going to just go on and on. I can just see it going on and on now. It's a shame. So you just got to tie the ones down that you can do, the ones that want to talk, the ones that want to accept terms, and the ones that just want to get their heads down and sign for the club. And one of the things that I did like about Quansah was his quotes that he said, this was the only choice for me. It's the only, there was no reason why I would go anywhere else. He's been there for a long time, and he wants to repay that value to the club. And again, he's got such a talent that he could go somewhere else one day, but he knows that right now this is the best place for him, and long may it continue at Liverpool, because it's one of those things where you just think to yourself, who's bigger than Liverpool? And we are at a stage now where the club is so stable in terms of the way it's ran and everything. Why would you ever go anywhere else? I mean, obviously I'm saying that because I'm wishing that other people don't go anywhere else. But what I'm saying before about there will be opportunities for him to go. Other clubs will come in, because I think he's that talented. Whether he does or not is another thing, because from those quotes, it's like he's really committed to us.
Absolutely. Like I say, he's 21. He's got all the time in the world. He probably played for 30 odd games last year. Gets himself a winner's medal, of course, in the League Cup final. He's only a kid. Like he's got more than enough time to wait it out a bit. Obviously, he'll want to play, and he says, he's going to keep pushing for his place. He wants to push Virgil and Ibu, but he understands that they're both playing well, which they are. But you only ever one suspension, one injury, one whatever, away from being back in the team and having the ability to prove yourself. I think if you're Jarell Quansah, age 27, a la Joe Gomez, for example, you would probably be looking at it going, I haven't got that much time on my sides. I might look for that move, which apparently Joe was considering in the summer. Jarell Quansah's 21. He's got 13, 14 years potentially left at the top level. He shouldn't be in any rush.
Absolutely not. And again, you're in a state-of-the-art facilities. You're in a fantastic football club that looks after your own, and the commitment's shown both ways. And I do think that Jarell Quansah is going to be, I think he already is a top player for us, I really do. But it's one of the things, when over the years when Nat Phillips was sort of dripping through to the team, and he wasn't starting every week, apart from that one end of the season. But it's one of the things when Quansah plays, you go, all right, sound, Quansah's playing. You're not worried, because he's already proven himself.
Yeah, I suppose. And like I say, I think it's actually good for Liverpool as well, get it down. And also, again, I think Liverpool have shown the ability to reward players you deserve, because that's another way you get players to sign for you or come to your academy.
Yeah.
If you're, listen, this guy's come through, he's played 30 games, and we didn't need to get him a new contract. He was still under contract, but we've tied him down. Liverpool seem quite happy to do that. They will always reward people depending on their place in the squads. So I think it worked out as a wise move for the Reds. Let's move on to Trent then. We touched upon it earlier. We might as well speak about it now. I'll see if I can find the front page. I think it was a Marca sports section, but it's effectively, Jay, we've been here before with the Spanish outlets. The PR machine is now spinning to get players to Real Madrid, of course. They've described it as Trent Alexander-Arnold is in the orbit of Real Madrid. I'll see if I can bring it up, see if it works on here.
I'll tell you what, I've never seen sort of a post from England's Twitter page before where they're welcoming a birthday boy before with a massive card. Like, they know what they're doing there. They're fueling that fire with having Bellingham behind it.
Bellingham in here. Yeah. So this is the Marca page. So yeah, Trent Alexander-Arnold is in Madrid's orbit. They're explaining that as so the Marca PR machine. Here we go. We can get behind that. A couple of things in there. They say Real Madrid wants to sign Trent Alexander-Arnold. They will send him a contract proposal in January if he doesn't renew with Liverpool. They don't just see Alexander-Arnold as a right back. They also see him as an excellent midfield option as well. This is where we are, Jay. Liverpool have got themselves in a bit of a pickle in terms, for whatever reason, change of managers, change of sporting directors, whatever's happened, they're in a position where about 3 months Trent can talk to Real Madrid. Real Madrid need a right back. We know that. Danny Carvajal's excellent. He's just on his knee. We'll see how that's going to be. This is the first time really. It's been talked about for a long time.
Yeah.
But when Marca start getting stories and putting them out there, this is the wheel spinning. This is Real Madrid doing the charm offensive now. They're not saying we're going to get him, because they do say if he doesn't renew with Liverpool, which should give us some hope. But yeah, this is the PR machine now in full effect.
Yeah, this will be happening now till January, and it always happens during an international break, doesn't it? And that's the annoying thing. You need something to talk about. It's also what helps us every day, doesn't it? When there's an international break. It's worrying me the longer this goes on. And I remember we did a couple of shows in the summer, and we said, be all right, that. But as long as it's done by the second international break, it doesn't look like it will be done. The longer this goes on, mate, the more worried I get.
Yeah.
Now, I don't, in a world, believe that Liverpool haven't spoken to him about the contract or put something in front of him. I don't see how you can be that stupid to not do that. Salah, different story because of age and all that sort of stuff, and again, would be stupid not to do that as well, but let's put that to one side a second. But this is Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's vice captain of our football club. He has got so much time on his side now. However, I think the days of the one club man are well and truly over. I do. I think the way the football is right now, the game itself, being able to do it in different countries, win everything in different countries, I think, and be at your top level, at the top level, is a pull for anybody. And Real Madrid's a pull for all players, of course it is, but it just hits differently, doesn't it? Because it's Trent, because he's a local lad. He's been here for 20 years already. Came at the... Go on.
And the no transfer fee, like that. Liverpool didn't want to lose Felipe Coutinho, but they got £140 million.
Well, exactly. I didn't want to lose Xabi Alonso, but at the time we got 30 million for him. I don't want to get stung again. That's my main priority. Is I don't want to be losing out. Would you rather lose £100 million, £50 million, £200 million or just pay him more? But you've also got the business to think of, and I think with this type of stuff with a player like Trent, the business goes out the window. You give him what he wants, but they could have put a contract in front of him on those 400 grand a week. But if his heart's not in to stay in the Premier League with Liverpool, let's face it, he's completed it. Does he want to go and try something else?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We just don't know.
People have done it. Rushy did it. Owen did it. It's weird, mate. And the longer it goes on, the more worried I get. But we can't afford to let him go for free because it's just mind blowing.
Yeah, but that's where we're heading towards at this moment. Well, we're potentially heading, but that's the market thing for me is. This is Real Madrid showing Trent how much they love him and how much they want him.
Yeah,
that's what this is. Obviously, he still hasn't made his mind up yet because they're not saying we're going to sign him in January. It's if he doesn't renew with Liverpool. I'm sure Liverpool. And it was reported. Paul Joyce reported it. I think Chris Baskin reported there have been talks. As of yet, there's not an advance. Like there's an impasse or something isn't quite right with all three of the players. Actually, not just Alexander-Arnold, but. Yeah, I think we're going to have to get our heads around the fact that there's going to be a lot of Real Madrid PR over the next few months from their end.
Even more so since the injury to
Danny Carvajal's injury.
That's just going to fuel it even more. I mean, even when they put out that statement, you had Madrid fans on Twitter going, right, buy Trent, get him now, and you're like, shut up.
Yeah, please don't. But that's where we're heading at this moment in time. So just on that, something to keep an eye on. We're going to probably we are going to be speaking about this a lot here at Redmen because it's one of the big stories surrounding us. But this is the first real time we've heard glimpses. Oh yeah, Real Madrid won him. There's definitely interest.
What do you think will happen?
I said yesterday, I'm edging towards like he probably leaves. I didn't believe that a month or two ago.
Yeah.
But I'm more like 40, 60, 55, 45, whatever. I'm not giving up hope.
Yeah.
I think Salah and Van Dijk will stay. But I think the longer this goes, and because it's them, I'm not convinced, and I think it's a mad situation that we found out.
Can I ask, put yourself in Trent, like say, for example, I'm talking to Trent now, and like, why are you leaving? What do you think's in his head, what he's thinking?
I think the money helps, and I think it's Real Madrid, and I think it's, well, I've won the Premier League here, I've won the Champions League here. I can go to Real Madrid, probably win more often, easier to win a little bit as well. I think, we everyone's thought this, the lawyers and Man City and all that kind of stuff, and how difficult the Premier League is.
Yeah.
Like Real Madrid are that pretty much over there. It's them and Barcelona. They have the odd Atletico Madrid here and there. They're perennially European champions or in the finals. His best mate or one of his best friends is there as well. And like I say, he's in his mid-20s. If he signs 5 years at Liverpool now, his big move isn't coming until he's 30.
Yeah, and
is it there?
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know how he thinks. If it was me, I'd sign the contract, of course. Why would you want to leave here? I wouldn't. But that's the devil's advocate side, isn't it? What I would say is that, Steve McManaman felt the wrath of Liverpool. Trent will get that, and and that's what's going to happen. Unfortunately for him, that's what's going to happen if you leave Liverpool. There'll be some backlash against them, especially if you're going on a free. So we'll wait and see if that happens. We don't know, but the Marca thing is, like I say, this is Madrid's. Right, here's the charm offensive work coming. So Liverpool, if they weren't already in a rush, I think they need to get this. If they've got any chance of getting them done, I think they need to get it done relatively soon. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it would be. I think Trent leaving will be the worst out of Owen McManaman type. I think that would be the worst, just because in terms of. Like with McManaman,
well, we were crap then.
That's what I mean. It was a case of like, well, he has such amazing ability where he was like, well, he'd had enough, didn't he? And we couldn't really say anything then. And with the Owen thing as well, I didn't think he should have left. But hindsight's a wonderful thing at the end of the day, and look what happened a year later. So, but this would hurt the most, I think, because not only are we losing such a fantastic footballer, we're losing out on a lot of money. And that would be the kicker. I'm all for one of our best players going if you get a mammoth transfer. Didn't want Coutinho to go, but like you said before, you can think, right, okay, then we were smart investing it. We leave ourselves short. We do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that one. Right then, let's move on to potential incomings then. We haven't had many of these for a while, but Florian Plettenberg, aka Plettigol of Sky Sports Germany, has reported Omar Marmoush is on the list of Liverpool. The Reds are closely monitoring his situation. Eintracht Frankfurt want to extend his contract early by 1 year until 2028 without a release clause. Here's the top priority of Frankfurt is to keep the 25-year-old striker this winter. He has 9 goals and 6 assists in all competitions this season. That's obviously Sky Sports Germany reporting that. So Omar Marmoush, for those who don't know, like I say, Eintracht Frankfurt striker, Egyptian international forward as well. Plays as a number 9, but can play either side. If you watch his YouTube later and just type his name in, you'll see all his Bundesliga goals, and he looks like Pele. He's absolutely fantastic on that. But the report around this is actually Liverpool might replace one Egyptian with another one. I don't know if that's the case, Jay, but I always say with Liverpool, and you can kind of get the sniff of if someone could be a Liverpool signing.
Yeah.
Age, club, profile, the stats are on the right trajectory, which we'll talk about in a moment. It feels like the type of deal Liverpool could possibly be interested in. It feels like a Liverpool signing this.
Absolutely. He plays more central for Frankfurt, and he dilly-dallied with that with Wolfsburg. But he can play across the front three. He does look really good. He's got some really good attributes. My guess is if this is going to gain traction, and if that is what's happening, then there might be a question of if someone's leaving, because I think 7 strikers might be a little bit overkill, Stephen.
100%, yeah.
Might be.
Yeah.
Which means that one might be on his way out. And who is that?
Yeah, I think the thing with the Salah thing is actually right isn't the position he plays. He's a bit like every other forward we've got.
Well, this is what I'm thinking.
Every other forward is left or centre that we've got, and so is he. He can play. That's where he plays. He's like I say, the stats this season. He's played 9 games in all comps. He's got 9 goals and 6 assists. Like last year, I think he got 16 goals. Like it's in all comps all year. He's doing that thing where Liverpool pounced. They see the stats. He's done this with Diaz. They've done it with Darwin a little bit. He's been good. here's the stats, here's the improvement, here's the output.
Yeah.
Now we'll go and buy him. We've seen enough of it. That's why I get it. But you are right. There's no way Liverpool can have 7 forwards next year. It's just impossible.
No,
it just can't happen. I think they're desperate to keep Mo Salah. For me, and I'll put it to you, I think if Liverpool signed Omar Marmoush, they're selling Darwin Nunez.
Yes.
Would you agree?
I would agree with that. Based off current form and the way Jota plays and this, that, the other, I wouldn't even consider getting rid of Jota at all. Even if it was, you can have Jota or Marmoush at the minute, I'm picking Jota. It's a shame for Darwin, but I think that's the name that would crop up if we were looking to replace, because, like we said, 7 strikers is too many. I don't think this is the Mo Salah replacement because of what we've just said in terms of positions. I think we still tie down Mo Salah to this contract and then we go from there. But I think there might be some part of the club that might be questioning Darwin and his output, and he's not really played as many minutes under Slot as what probably we thought he might do. I'm still rooting for the guy. I still want him to. Anyone who's wearing a Liverpool shirt and works as hard as he does, I'm all for it. Do you know what I mean? And I want him to turn it around. I really do. But if this is what's thinking, right, well, we've seen enough now when we want to look for something else, then sometimes that's what you've got to do.
Yeah, MK in the chat says we're watching Marmoush's prime now. He's just a joy to watch. He says he's been the Bundesliga player of the season so far. There's another one here. Floria says the player I desperately wanted was Karim Adeyemi before he went to Dortmund. He's been linked again today as well. Yeah. Actually, the same player's been linked as well. But yeah, I think if Liverpool are interested in forwards, and to be fair, Sky Sports Germany, you would guess that their sourcing's pretty accurate. Not always, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anyone's always 100%, but Florian Plettenberg and Sky Sports, you would someone somewhere's probably give them a little whisper. I think they were all over the Sadio Mane story. They've been over a couple of other ones as well in and around Liverpool. So something to keep an eye on. I wouldn't be shocked if Liverpool signed a forward, and a 25-year-old forward makes perfect sense. I just don't see that as the Mo Salah replacement. If Salah's leaving, I still think you'd have to sign a proper right-sided forward.
I agree.
He isn't really that. He'd be someone who's doing a job for you. What I would say is, again, I haven't seen too much of him. I knew of him a little bit. I watched some of the clips today. I referenced that YouTube video with all his goals. He's 6 foot. He's quick. He can run in behind. He can play with his back to goal. He can take penalties. He can take free kicks. Like, you can see why teams are interested in him and why Frankfurt are desperate to get this contract situation. I mean, Florian mentioned there about trying to get rid of a release clause. I don't know if there is one, but you can see why now. If anyone's watched the Bundesliga so far, or just been keeping an eye on the Bundesliga, Europa League, whatever, and they've seen this lad with 8 goals in 6 league games, 1 and 2 in the Europa League, the whole of Europe will be paying attention to this guy, so it's no shock that Liverpool are seemingly sniffing around him, Jay.
Absolutely, mate. And you said the right thing before, when it's the type of profile that Liverpool look at straight away in these early days, which is why we have such a good record when it comes to transfers. I was just sat on the couch with a beer at the weekend watching the Bayern Munich game, because it was the footy that was on, and I was like, all right, I'll watch this. And
he was great.
It turns out to be a great game, and he was on. I was like, who's this kid? And thankfully we're talking about him today, which is great. So yeah, I'll be excited. I'm always excited when a player like that is linked with the club and there's possibility. And let's look at the Egyptian side of things, and we've got the Egyptian king. Let's have the Egyptian prince.
Yeah, because I keep both of them at the same time.
Yeah,
it's mad because he only comes on for a half, doesn't he? I might say no. Sorry, he played the whole game. He scored in the last minute. He scored the equaliser to set up. And he got the other. So he's 2 goals and an assist against Bayern Munich. So obviously that's another reason why his name's out there at the moment. It's just that maybe it's just putting 1 and 1 together and
it probably is. And he's probably got the chance of thinking, well, maybe this is the next level for me. It's probably the right club to go to, because I know how many players do develop well there. He'll obviously be chatting to Mo about it. So hopefully that's, Agent Mo can crack on there. But again, we don't know, there's no smoke without fire, but there's been a few outlets that have reported it. So keep our eyes on it, mate, and let's just keep our fingers crossed.
For what it's worth, he's played 32 times for the Egyptian national team. He's scored 6 goals for them. He's often played on that left-hand side. That's been his position for Egypt for most of his time there, obviously.
Yeah.
Playing in that front three with Mo Salah. So like I said, it goes back to the point. Liverpool aren't signing him to replace Mo Salah because he doesn't play the same position.
No. Is that a Diaz replacement then?
See, maybe.
Do you know what I mean? I don't want Diaz to go. Let's just set that record straight. I don't want him to go. Of course I don't. But what I'm saying is, what happens when they flirt with clubs? Players sign new deals, and then it's like, right, well, 12 months later you can go, and then, well, you've got like 3 or 4 years left on your contract. We get big money for him. I'm not saying that'll happen with Diaz, but I'm just reading between the lines. Don't want it to happen, obviously.
Yeah, listen, who knows? But what I would say is, if Liverpool are looking for a forward, they're obviously half again, and it might be Salah because at this moment in time Salah hasn't got a contract, so they have to have some type of contingency plans going.
Yeah,
I think their plan is to keep Salah. We know that's it feels like that's what they're interested in.
Yeah.
Again, I go back to Jay. It feels like I think it's a big season for Darwin Nunez. He's not on a slot signing. He's not Michael Edwards' signing. He's not Richard Hughes' signing. Liverpool spent a lot of money on Darwin Nunez under a different regime. They're giving him a chance. If he doesn't take it, and they think, you know, someone like Mahmoud is more, from what I've seen, from Marmoush rather, is more of a fit for the profile, everything about him. They think they might be a bit more reliable. They don't really owe Darwin Nunez nothing because he wasn't there signing.
No, he wasn't. And again, it's a shame. It really is, because he doesn't have to put the work rate in sometimes, and it's just. I agree with what you're saying there, mate. Is sometimes you've got to cut your losses, and if you can take a hit on the transfer fee and then invest that into another player like Marmoush, then that's what you've got to do. You know, it doesn't seem like it's going to work. I think he's adding. I guess it feels harsh saying it because like I said before, mate,
we want it to work.
We want it to work.
Yeah.
Of course we do, absolutely, but. If you can see it's not going to, and he's not getting the minutes, then the writing's on the wall, and we know how this story ends. We've seen this film before.
Yeah, so we definitely want to keep an eye on. But I like the player. I think he's a good player. Like I say, if you haven't watched it already, when you finish watching this, just put his name into YouTube, watch all his Bundesliga goals. There's a couple of things there. You'll like him. I was trying to think who he reminds me of. He's 6 foot with pace. I had a little bit of like, he looks a bit like a taller Jota, in that he scores all different types of goals. He's probably a little bit quicker as well than Diogo Jota, but he loves running in behind. But also, like, there's a couple of goals where, again, you know, he plays it to himself, creates goals.
He's got that silkiness about him as well.
You know what I loved about it? He scores a couple against Wolfsburg, his former club, and just celebrates like mad. He's got that a bit. I love a bit of that, mate. Yeah. You let me go on a free transfer, see you later. Have a bit of this. Have a bit of this. So I like him. I think I'm definitely going to keep an eye on him. I know Dan's doing some phone calls today. Of course, see if we can get some more information from various journalists.
He'd relish in the Premier League as well. I think he's one of those players that really will. I mean, I don't want to put a jinx on it in terms of, you know, Timo Werner looked really, really good in the Bundesliga, didn't he? We all know how that turned out. But you know, I think this is a different type of player. I'm
just looking at his stats now. So this season, like I say, he's got his 9 goals in his 9 appearances. Last year, he scored. It was 17 goals in 41 games. So he's clearly this year, this is the bit where everyone's going, okay, Luis Diaz did this in the first half of that season for Porto before we got him in January. He'd always been a good player. We'd all heard of Luis Diaz, but then he just started getting all the goals and all the assists. It feels like now he's almost at a point, Marmoush, where he's settled. He's been at Frankfurt, for a year and a little bit now. He's settled after the move to Wolfsburg, and now he's flourishing. Go and get him. Because if you wait too long,
someone else going to come in.
Well, Bayern Munich will buy him. Because he plays in Germany, and that's what happens.
They sign for Bayern or Dortmund, and then they come over here, don't they? Get him now. And I think maybe if these reports are coming through, maybe the club have done a little bit of due diligence over the last couple of weeks, maybe a month or two, and they've already been talking to his people behind the scenes and this, that, and the other. Maybe, you know, hopefully his heart's already set on a move to Liverpool.
Yeah, so we've got analytics department, like YouTube name says, Mamadou still has big goals, he works hard and has been improving for years. He has the mentality. He says Adeyemi is a winner 2.0. I mean, I like Adeyemi, I think he's a good player, but I think he's not that centre forward option. I wouldn't think that you'd be looking for. I think Liverpool it might be looking more for a forward player, hopefully, because I would like Mo Salah to be hanging around. Shipcat says Mamadou looks really good. He absolutely does. He's a baller. He's been a baller ever since he played for Wolfsburg. It's very rare, actually, we do these shows where you mention a player who isn't, Jay, a 150, 200 million pound player. Because usually everyone wants them, and if it's not one of them, everyone thinks they're crap. But actually, judging by everyone I've spoken to in the last hour or so, because I'll be honest, I didn't know too much about him other than I'd seen the game at the weekend against Bayern. I'd heard his name fleetingly. Everyone I've spoken to, whether it's sent a text or watched the video or read something about him, everyone seems to be really in favour of that. He feels like he's a player that a lot of people like.
You don't have to be £100 million player to be a good footballer. Life has chosen that route, and you look at Sadio Mane and Mo, they didn't go to Liverpool for gigantic fees in the world of football as it is now. So, you know, what was the fee that was touted? It was like 30 million, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bargain. based off his stats, the way he's played, from what we've seen him, this, that, the other. But again, I just keep going back to 7 strikers is too much. One will go, and that will be the question of who it is, whether we get him in January, which would be very, very nice, or it's a next summer job. But hopefully we're doing our work now, getting ready for him, hopefully.
Yeah, they've got to be as well. They have to go. For what it's worth, I mentioned before, I'll bring it up on the screen now from Plettyberg again, says it isn't only Omar Marmoush. Liverpool are also monitoring Dortmund's Karim Adeyemi. They are considering him as the potential successor to Mohamed Salah. Several top clubs several top clubs are following the situation of the 22-year-old. However, his injury proneness is a concern for potential suitors. His contract runs out in 2027. On Adeyemi, if Liverpool were selling Mo Salah, this one would make sense in terms of the position.
Yep.
The injury record is terrifying. I'm always of the opinion that broke tends to stay broke, and someone at the age of 22 who's had the issues he's had, he is clearly talented and he's clearly raw, and there's clearly more to come from Adeyemi. But I will bring the injury record in a moment. That's the one worry with him, is my opinion of him, Jay.
I completely agree, especially when he'll probably go for more money. And that's, in terms of like the balance of the transfer sheet and the balance sheet, that's what you've got to worry about. And I'm not too sure that he's going to fit the bill based on certain players that we've had over the past 10 years, which have had horrendous injury records. But what's he got?
I'll bring it up now. He's clearly out. He's going to be out now, isn't he? I think got injured against Celtic in that 7-1 game. But I'll bring it up on the screen now. He's currently... So these are all the games he's missed since 1920 at his previous clubs. He's missed 2 games. He goes, you've got adductor, muscle problem, hamstring injury, muscle injury, torn muscle. He missed Germany games and Dortmund games. He's got another torn muscle injury, muscle problems, ligament problem. It's like, if someone gets a broken leg or does their ACL because of a mad challenge or a fall, you can half put them away. The constant muscle injuries. I just don't see a world where Liverpool look at that of a player since his injury record in his young career. And again, it's a bit of an anecdotal thing, but it goes across like 2 pages on Transfermarkt, and he's only been playing since 18, 19. It just feels far too much risk. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a great player. But the injury thing for me tips over the edge of... I just can't... I think it's a massive risk.
Absolutely. What's the point in buying him if he's not going to play the games? And we found that out with a few plays, and it's unfortunate, but I think you just got to look at other options. I hope that's a rumour that just dies down, really, because I'm all for getting Omar in instead.
Yeah, absolutely. David says they're clearly different positions, so if we get Marmoush, it seals Salah's fate because he won't want to lose 2 forwards to the AFCON. I don't think they care, Dave. I understand they did it with Mane. He said we don't want another Mane and Salah. Liverpool don't mind. I think if they think the player's good enough, if they have to lose him for a month every 2 to 4 whatever years, I don't think it comes into the equation, to be honest with you.
I don't think it does not anymore. It used to, but then when you had the balance, then we had when we got the depth on the wings, it didn't really matter. We were carried, weren't we, by Divock, by Shaqiri over that period of time as well. So I don't think it bothers, especially with the depth we've got at the minute. I don't think that'd be too much of a bit.
No, I don't think they care. Like, I'll be honest. I think if you could choose, you'd rather not have it. So if there's 2 guys and they're the exact same price, ability, everything, and one does go to AFCON and one doesn't, then you probably go, actually, let's not. Just because it's like a tipping factor. But if Liverpool think he's good enough, I think they just work around it. I don't think it matters. But
it's a good point that Dave makes, though, to be fair. It's always a worry when players go away. It would worry me.
It'd be a pain in the arse, absolutely. But I don't think it would bother Liverpool. They've coped with it. They've coped with it for years, and I think they'd be okay with it. MK says the decision making is always a massive problem with Adeyemi. His lack of consistency. I mean, I reckon his Champions League final still haunts him to this day, when he had a massive opportunity to put Borussia Dortmund in front and just got it. So you are right.
There's a comment there saying the ship's capped. It says, true to LFC form, will Probs buy someone nobody's mentioned. It's such a good point that we do tend to go for a lot of players that sort of like come out of the woodwork very late, and then bang, we've got him. Do you know what I mean? Like Fabinho and Jota and stuff, they just came out of nowhere in terms of rumours. So.
I think usually when it's a player abroad, I think actually sometimes the McAllister stuff was going around for months.
Yeah.
Luis Diaz was going around for ages, like before the eventually. So I think teams. People know who Liverpool like. Doesn't mean they're going to go for them.
No, absolutely.
And I think a lot of this might just be, like I say, there'll be German scouts, agents, whatever. Actually, to be fair, in Germany, I tend to, I don't know if you agree, Jay, it feels like their press get more. Like, it feels like their clubs are closer to the press. They're happy to give them stories. Journalists speak more freely.
I don't think the German press are as arrogant and obnoxious as the English press can be.
So they do them favours.
Because, like, all right, you're quite nice, aren't you? You don't actually pull us down a bit, whereas the English media do that quite often.
Yeah, and I think if I had to choose between the two of them, I think I would go for Marmoush. I think he's a better player in terms of what Liverpool would be looking for. But I do like Adeyemi. It's injuries.
Marmoush all the way.
That's terrifying. We'll keep an eye on, keep an eye on the Bundesliga over the next few weeks. I'm going to say, once you finish this, go and check out his YouTube video. I promise you'll enjoy it. My favourite of his goals is the one where he chips up to himself in the box and spins and volleys it.
Yeah,
I think it's when he's at Wolfsburg. It's an absolute banger, so he's got loads going for him. The only other thing is, it's whether Frankfurt want to lose him, of course. He's only just signed for them in 23, but obviously... I need to be careful how I say this because it's not being condescending. It feels like the type of club you could probably get a player out of. I think there's a fee that they would accept.
Absolutely.
It's not like I feel like Napoli are hard to buy from.
Yeah.
I don't get the sense with Frankfurt that they're that hard to buy from.
No, and again, I say this in the best way. They know their place. And that's not being harsh, condescending. Yeah. You know, they've had some really good European outings over the last few years. They won the Europa League, didn't they? So
Rangers in the final.
Absolutely, yeah. So they're not a bad club in the Bundesliga to play for at all, but I think they know the place in European football, and I don't think, you know, anyone who signs for Frankfurt goes, I'm going to finish my career here. No disrespect to them. Do you know what I mean? I think there's always that level they want to go. They want to go higher, and if the player has been speaking to Liverpool or his agent has, and there's the thought of, you know, a player's mind can go wandering, can't it? This is the same way we're thinking of it for Trent. He might be wondering about playing in the Bernabeu. He might be wondering, thinking about playing at Anfield. So you never know. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm just checking. Like they sold Pacho, didn't they, to PSG in the summer? Like they're not known for like keeping older players too long. Frankfurt, so definitely want to keep an eye on. Like I said, I think I was quite excited by the story. So if it is comes to fruition, whether it's January. I actually wouldn't mind it being January. I think actually, Jay, that's the final point before we wrap up. I think this is one where you could, in January, just have one extra. Like Liverpool had Luis Diaz in the building before Sadio Mane left, because they half had an idea, and it gave them also a little boost. You know, they got them to a final. It helped them end that season in pretty good nick. I think you can, for 5 months, have 7, with the view that you're not scrambling around in the summer when X amount of player leaves. You've already got a replacement in the building.
No, I completely agree with that, mate. And like I said, the conversation was if it's going to happen in the summer, because obviously that's when contracts are going to be ending for certain people. So yeah, if we got him in January, it'd only be my worry is if we were having a certain conversation about a DM, if we were going to go back in for Zubimendi in January, maybe in terms of our funds available, etc, etc. So yeah, I mean, if he came in January, mate, it'd be a massive boost with, you know, Diaz 2.0, really, wouldn't it? You know, so that'd be boss.
Yeah, we've seen. I say to wrap it very quickly, and he's under contract till 2027. Frankfurt have offered him a new deal, but currently he is hesitating to accept. Why would he? Like, if he doesn't mind, he's fine. He's still under contract for a couple more years. He's only been there.
Forget about Chiesa.
Well, he's the 6th. He's option 6 at the moment in time.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, like, fucking hell, we're quite rich when it comes to going up front.
What I would say, I think the chances of getting Omar Marmoush increase if Mo Salah stays.
Yes,
you would think, like, my God, like, you know what I mean? It must be an attraction. I know it's really simplistic thing to say, and he plays them on international duty, but the chance to play week in with the best player in the history of your country's existence, to be able to play week in and week out, it must be a draw.
That should be written on the brochure.
I mean, Mo Salah, if he's staying, Salah should be part of the recruitment team. Get that one done. Right then, Jay, thanks very much for coming in, mate. Pleasure to have you. Thanks everyone for watching or listening to this Liverpool news update today on Redmen TV. You've got the deep dive. Chris is off having a well-earned break, but Paul is filling in. So you'll have Paul and Josh talking all things stats, analytics, tactics, and all that good stuff here on the YouTube channel. So do check that out. And yeah, we'll be back with another news update show tomorrow. See you there.